She opens the drawer carefully, as if touching something sacred. It's late. The apartment is silent except for the hum of the city outside her window. She reaches in and pulls out the one thing she still hasn't been able to let go of. A gray hoodie. Oversized. Slightly worn on the edges. And unmistakably his. Demet lifts it to her face and closes her eyes. It still smells like him. That faint, warm scent of cologne and sea breeze. That smell that used to linger in the hallways after he left. That scent that once meant home. She clutches it close, breathing it in like oxygen. It's been over a year. A year since he walked out of her life. A year since their story came to a crashing halt. And yet, this one thing, this hoodie, is still here. Why? She doesn't fully know. Maybe because letting it go would mean letting go of him. And she's not ready. Not yet. Because this isn't just a piece of fabric. It's the last thing he left behind. She remembers the first time she saw him wear it. It was raining. The kind of soft Istanbul rain that made the entire city feel like a dream. He had come over unannounced, hair damp, that same hoodie clinging to his frame, water droplets beating at the edges of the sleeves. She opened the door, startled, and then smiled. "You look like a stray dog," she teased. "And you," he replied, "look like someone who was just about to say she missed me." She had laughed. Rolled her eyes. But she had missed him. God, she had missed him so much. He stayed that night. They didn't talk much. Didn't need to. He made her tea. She wrapped herself around him on the couch. The rain played a lullaby against the windows. And that hoodie? It smelled like him even then. She never told him, but that night she secretly wished he'd leave it behind. And eventually, he did. Their story didn't begin like a fairy tale. It started awkwardly. On set. Under blinding lights and 1,000 eyes. He was the charming rebel, she was the focused perfectionist. At first, they clashed. He joked too much. She rolled her eyes too often. But something clicked. Maybe it was the way he looked at her when she wasn't paying attention. Or how she started anticipating his lines before he even said them. There was electricity, unspoken, undeniable, and utterly terrifying. The first time they kissed wasn't in a scene. It was after a wrap party. He had walked her to her car. She had thanked him. And just as she turned to open the door, he grabbed her hand and pulled her back. He didn't say a word. He just kissed her. It was soft. Hesitant. Like he was testing the waters of something dangerous. When he pulled back, she looked at him, wide-eyed and breathless. And just like that, everything changed. Their relationship was a secret. 4 months, no one knew. Not friends, not colleagues, not even their assistants. They rented a small apartment in Sea Hangar. A hidden escape from the spotlight. It was barely furnished, just a bed, a couch, and a few plants. But to them, it was everything. It was the place where they could just be themselves. No cameras. No scripts. Just Can and Demet. He used to cook breakfast shirtless, that hoodie draped lazily around his waist. She would pretend to be annoyed by the mess he made in the kitchen, but secretly, she loved every second of it. It was their little world. And in that world, that hoodie became a part of their everyday life. For a while, everything was perfect. Almost too perfect. Their secret love nest in Sea Hangar became their paradise. But the outside world had a way of creeping in, slowly, then all at once. Fame, pressure, expectations, and rumors. They were young, beautiful, and wildly popular. The media wouldn't leave them alone. One photo leaked. A blurry image of them entering the apartment together. And just like that, the bubble popped. Paparazzi swarmed their streets. Tabloids crafted stories. Demet pregnant? Ken secretly engaged? Jealousy on set? Every headline felt like a punch. And worse, they began to argue, not because they didn't love each other, but because they loved each other too much. Ken hated seeing her cry. But he was also tired of pretending he was okay when he wasn't. Demet, on the other hand, grew distant. Quiet. Like she was holding something in that she couldn't quite say. One night, after a particularly heated argument over yet another leaked photo, she broke. "You always act like it's easy for you," she said, her voice shaking. "Like none of this touches you." He stared at her. "You think I'm not hurting too? You don't show it. Maybe I'm tired of always having to be strong, for both of us." And that was it. Not a breakup. Not even a decision. Just silence. The last time he stayed over, it was raining again. He didn't say much. Neither did she. They barely looked at each other, but they couldn't keep their hands off each other either. That night was both an ending and a beginning. The next morning, she woke up to find him gone. No note. No message. Just the smell of him still lingering on the pillow. And that hoodie. Folded. Left on the armrest of the couch. She picked it up slowly, as if it might burn her. She held it for a long time, unsure what to do. Part of her wanted to throw it out, to erase him. The other part wanted to wrap herself in it and cry. She chose the second option. She didn't go to set that day. She just stayed in bed. Wearing his hoodie. And for the first time since it all began, she allowed herself to break. 2 weeks later, she wrote him a letter. Not a text. Not a call. A real letter. Ink on paper. Folded neatly into an envelope she never sealed. "Can. I know why you left. I felt it too. The walls closing in, the pressure, the fear. But what I don't know is, why you didn't fight for us. I would have. I still would. Do you remember the first time you wore that hoodie in front of me? I do. It smelled like you. And now, it still does. I sleep in it sometimes. I wish I didn't. But it's the only way I can feel close to you without breaking down. I hate that I miss you. But I do. Please tell me I wasn't the only one who thought this was real. D." She never sent it. She tucked it into the same drawer where the hoodie lived. And every few months, she reread it, only to cry all over again. Months passed. He went abroad. Italy. Spain. Somewhere far. She followed his projects online, pretending not to care. They didn't speak. Not once. Then, one day, the headlines exploded, "Kenyaman returns to Istanbul." Her heart skipped a beat when she read it. Not because she thought he was coming back for her, but because she secretly hoped he might be. He wasn't. He gave interviews, smiled for cameras, and when asked about Demet, he only gave a tight-lipped smile. No comment. That hurt more than anything. Because silence is louder than denial. One rainy night, almost a year after he left, she wore the hoodie again. It was worn now. The sleeves slightly frayed. The scent fading, but not gone. She sat on the floor of her living room, that same old letter in one hand, a glass of wine in the other. And she finally understood something. The hoodie wasn't just clothing. It was a memory. A promise. A moment in time. It was the way he used to wrap her in it when she was cold. The way he left it behind without realizing that it would become the most important thing he ever gave her. Because in that hoodie, she still felt his arms. Still heard his laugh. Still remembered what it felt like to be loved, truly loved. Just when she thought she had finally buried the feeling, her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated. Picked up. Demet. Her breath caught in her throat. She didn't speak. "It's me." She almost laughed. She knew it was him from the first syllable. That voice. That calm, deep, soothing voice. It haunted her dreams for months. I wasn't going to call, he said, but I had to. Why now? Because I couldn't stop thinking about that hoodie. Her heart sank. What about it? I realized. I left it behind for a reason. She closed her eyes. You forgot it. No, he replied. I left it. Because I knew if I didn't, I'd never have a reason to come back. She didn't expect to see him again. Not in person. Not like this. But one rainy Thursday afternoon, because it was always raining when they mattered most, there he was. Standing at her doorstep, soaked, wearing a simple black jacket, eyes heavier than she remembered. He didn't speak right away. Neither did she. They just stood there. Two people who once knew everything about each other, now strangers with shared memories. I shouldn't have come, he said finally. But you did. He looked down, hands in his pockets. I've replayed it in my head 1,000 times. What I should have said. What I could have done differently. She leaned against the doorframe. And? I never stopped loving you, Demet. Her breath caught. I thought I was doing the right thing. Walking away. Letting you have peace. But the truth is, I left the most important part of me with you. She swallowed hard. You mean the hoodie? He smiled faintly. No. I mean my heart. They sat inside, just like old times. Same couch. Same distance. But everything felt different. Softer. Sadder. Realer. I used to hate that thing, she said, glancing toward the folded hoodie on the table. Why? Because it smelled like you. And every time I wore it, I remembered how it felt to have you next to me, and how empty it was without you. He nodded. I left it on purpose. I know. You told me. But I never told you why. She looked up, eyes searching. It was the only way I could make sure a part of me stayed with you. Even when I didn't deserve to. Demet blinked away tears. You left a letter too, he said. Her eyes widened. He smiled. I know you didn't send it. But I always knew you wrote one. I could feel it. She reached into the drawer beside the couch and pulled it out. Still folded. Still unread. She handed it to him. He read it slowly. Line by line. And when he finished, he looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time again. I'm sorry, he whispered. For all of it. Later that night, after he left, Demet stood by the window, hoodie in hand. The city below was quiet. Lights flickered. Horns echoed faintly in the distance. She held it close one last time. It still smelled like him. But this time, the scent didn't hurt. It didn't sting. It didn't pull her under. It reminded her of what love used to be. She took a deep breath, walked over to her wardrobe, and carefully placed the hoodie in a wooden box. Along with the letter. Along with the photo booth strip they once took after sneaking out of a set party. Along with the old key to the sea hangar apartment. Then she closed it. Locked it. And smiled. Some memories don't need to be worn every day. Some love stories aren't meant to restart. But they don't need to be erased either. She would always carry him. Not in her closet. But in her heart. He left one thing behind. And I still keep it. Not because I'm waiting. Not because I'm broken. But because it reminds me that once I was truly loved. And that kind of love never really disappears. It just changes form. From presence to memory. From heartbeat to scent. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.